Momento Mori is Latin for remember that you have to die. Stoics use this phrase to remind themselves and others that they're going to die. Often it's combined with a cool skull logo. This isn't as morbid or as creepy as you might think at first. There is a point to it, and it is truthful and realistic. Stoic philosophy teaches that you should become familiar with and comfortable with death so that you will fear it less. Stoics believe that you should face reality head on and not look away from uncomfortable truths. The three main Stoic philosophers, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, all spoke about and wrote about death often. By thinking about and analyzing death, it becomes more commonplace and less of an unknown, frightening thing. When you fear death less, you are more free since the threat of death no longer holds the same spooky menace. Understanding that death is coming and coming soon, it encourages you to live more vividly and intentionally. Consider the people who survive cancer or a near-death experience and how they live with purpose afterwards. That is the benefit of Memento Mori. Memento Mori also keeps you humble. No matter how rich or powerful you become, no matter how fancy your house or your car, we all wind up in the same ground. Nobody's life stuff is really that important, and you lose it all when you die anyways. For police officers, death is a very real possibility. We often tell each other, be safe out there, when ending a conversation. Pretty much every Leo that I know kisses their spouse goodbye and tells them that they love them before leaving home for a shift. We know that we are playing a dangerous game. We might not make it home. We know that nothing should be taken for granted, especially the guarantee of a tomorrow. Or at least we should know it. The practice of contemplating our own mortality, Momento Mori, is beneficial for several reasons. First, your oath might require you to die well. The Stoic philosopher Monsonius Rufus said, "Given that all must die, it is better to die with distinction than to live long." The wise Seneca tells us, "That man lives badly who does not know how to die well." The truth is, you may be asked to give your life to save somebody else. Nobody wants to do it, but it's a risk that comes with the job. On any given shift, you may have to run headlong into a situation where there is a high risk of death. As you know, an active shooter situation could pop off at any moment. As a protector, you are expected to immediately go in and eliminate the threat, regardless of the risk to yourself. Reminding yourself of your own mortality will help you get comfortable with the eventuality of your own death. Once you remind yourself of it enough and get used to the idea that you aren't going to live forever, the idea of death becomes less scary. If you have taken the pledge to be a police officer, trooper, or deputy, you know what your role is when the bullets start flying. You know that you have to eliminate the threat so that innocent people aren't hurt or killed. Usually, in an active shooter situation, there are two possibilities, two possible outcomes: kill or be killed. There's a third shameful possibility: to hide, to not go in, to make excuses and cower while citizens die. We've all seen the videos of officers who should have gone in during a school shooting and didn't. I personally would rather die 1,000 times than to be the coward who didn't go in and do my duty. There are things worth dying for, and saving children or other innocent victims is one of those things. If you practice Memento Mori, you can be more certain that you will do the right thing when the time comes. You will do the brave thing. You will be mentally ready, and if need be, you will die well, which is far superior to living as a coward. Secondly, Memento Mori will make you free. Seneca said, "If they can force you, then you have forgotten how to die." The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "I cannot escape death, but at least I can escape the fear of it." To some people, the ultimate goal of philosophy is to learn to not fear death. Admittedly, that might be asking a lot of the average person. Certainly, nothing that I tell you in this video will suddenly make you have no fear of death. I'm still a practicing Stoic, and I'm working on this myself. After practicing Stoicism in Memento Mori and reading what the Stoics had to say about death, I can tell you that I'm now less scared of it than I was when I started. My fear of death has been dialed down. I'm more comfortable with the idea that someday I might not exist. I've practiced this discipline enough to see the value in it. I think the best way to explain it is to ask you this question. What would someone be like if they were ready, willing, and able to die at any time? Not that they wanted to die or were suicidal, but absolutely 100% did not care in the slightest if they died or that you killed them. How carefree would that person be? How fearless would they be? What things would they be willing to do? What things would they be willing to try? How would you ever make them do something that they didn't want to do? Can you imagine how peaceful they would be? Having most people's biggest fear completely taken off the table. In short, that person would be free. And that's why the Stoics practiced Momento Mori. You can practice this discipline yourself. You may not completely lose your fear of death and become completely free, but maybe you'll lose some of your fear and become a little more free in the process. Third, Memento Mori makes you realize that time is short and you better get after it. The Stoic philosopher Seneca had a lot to say about this fact. He said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." He also said, "Hurry up and live." If that weren't enough, Seneca said, "While we are postponing, life speeds by." Life is short, and you never know when it's going to end. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start accomplishing your goals. Don't tell yourself you'll do it tomorrow, or next week, or next year. The time is now. You need to seize the day. Start today. Make a plan and take action. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let procrastination take over. You have the power to achieve great things, but it starts with taking action. Get after it. Finally, Memento Mori makes you appreciate what you have and helps you to be a better person. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "You may leave this life at any moment. Have this possibility in mind in all that you say or do or think." Hey you, yes, you, watching this video right now. You're gonna die, and it's gonna happen a lot sooner than you think. Time flies by. Life flies by. Tomorrow is not guaranteed for any of us. If you want to do something, do it now. Each time you talk to someone could be the last chance you get. So be kind and make it count. Don't be petty. You have this one career in law enforcement. You have the opportunity to make a difference, both to the other Leos and to the citizens that you encounter. Let's do a quick exercise. Pretend like you are on your deathbed, looking back over your life and your career. Think about all the things you did and didn't do. Think about your successes and your regrets. What do you wish that you had made more time for? Do you wish that you had watched another episode of some show on Netflix? Do you wish you had helped that person who needed it? Do you wish you had bitched about the boss a little bit more? Or do you wish that you had been a better example to others? The darkness is closing in now. It's all said and done. Are you proud of what you did? Or did you half-ass your life and your career? Okay, now take a breath and realize you aren't on your deathbed. You are back in here and now. What do you want to do with it? Memento Mori brings life into focus if you're willing to look death in the eye.